welcome to Tiny Table Talk for The Challenge Season 37, Spies, Lies, and Allies. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Fessy and why he tried to make the move he did this episode and what is his real motivation for targeting Amber. Also, I'm going to be getting into the top 5 of what I think are the funniest moments from this past week's episode and getting into some of the comments from my Thursday's review and recap. But before we can get to any of that, let's first hear a word from today's sponsor. Do you have muscles? If you do, you probably had a muscle or two sore. I know I have. I normally get it from working out or sitting at my computer for far too long. That's when I like to reach to the Charles Warren All-Natural Sweet Ginger Vapor Rub. It is made with 6 all-natural oils and butters. And did I mention that the packaging is biodegradable? Another product I love to use is the Coconut Milk and Oats Body and Foot Powder. It's talc-free, baking soda-free, and cornstarch-free, all while keeping my feet sweat-free, and it smells like fresh coconut cake. And right now, if you go to charleswarrenpresents.com and use my promo code at checkout, you can get a discount. All the information and a link is down in the description below. Thank you so much to Charles Warren Presents for sponsoring this video, and now on to Tiny Table Talk. From how many times Fessy brought up Amber and not being able to trust her, and Josh trying to talk him off the ledge of actually putting up Amber into the elimination, you kind of knew where the episode was going. And on the Aftermath post-show, Fessy gave a little bit more into the reasoning why he wanted to target Amber this early in the game, despite there being a vet alliance. And what he said is that she didn't come talk to me. Since episode 2 to this episode, Fessy is claiming Amber and Fessy had not spoken once, which I have 2 things to say about that. One is that communication is a two-way street. If you and another person have not talked at all in the game, you're partially to blame because you're not putting yourself out there. And I will give him credit that late into the Aftermath, he does speak. We equally weren't putting in the effort to try to talk to each other within the house up to that point. The second thing I have to say about that excuse is that it's just that. It's a hollow excuse. Fessy wasn't the only one giving off this vibe of not wanting to be around Amber. Casey was giving off this similar vibe in her confessionals, being like, oh, I can't trust Amber 100%. Then in the confessional, in the elimination, she is like, oh, why is Josh blowing up his game for Amber? It was just last week that Tori and Ed were in the agency wanting to target Big T. At least Tori wanted to target Big T, and everybody was like, that is a bad idea. Do not do this. And now coming into this episode, Fessy is like hardcore tunnel vision on going after Amber, and Josh being the voice of reason for this episode. I have to give it up for Josh. He was actually talking sense this episode strategically. One, with the advice he was giving to Devin about the whole Kyle thing, and then with Fessy and Amber. If Casey talked to Amber and was like, hey, we're cool, right? Let's squash any beef. Let's work together. We want to work with you this season way closer than what we did last season, and Amber's all gung-ho for it. Why isn't Casey communicating that towards Fessy? And Josh is also saying the same thing. While I was watching this episode, I personally was like, Fessy, you are too narrow-sighted on the wrong reigning vet in the game. Taking a look at this elimination, this is a crapshoot elimination. This would have been the perfect time to take a shot at somebody like CT, and putting in Bettina as his partner. I don't know if they've had a conversation within the game, so you don't know how they will do as a partnership, as a duo, but also their size difference might actually be to their detriment. We saw Coriel and Michelle kind of faltering in this elimination and falling back, whereas Hugh and Amber were actually doing a really great job, and they were much closer in height than, say, Michelle and Coriel. I don't know, it would have been worth taking the risk, especially if you're going to ruin your shot of the Vets Alliance or the Vets Truce, or if the Vets are going to turn on you. Why take your shot at Amber rather than the big dog CT? To me, I don't think Fessy coming after Amber is strategy at all. He wants to make it seem like I'm the low person on her list. She's like, I'm her number 1 on her hit list, but That's not the case at all. I really do think that this is something personal, that this is something that is like maybe his pride and ego is hurt, that she was the first person in Big Brother to win. He comes into his first season, gets to the finals, but gets 4th place. He's this big dude. He used to play football, and he has more friends in the game, and he's feeling like he's all about himself. And then come into the next season, double agents, and Amber, who is not really meshing with anybody from Big Brother. She's just sticking with the rookie girls. And then I think he's looking at her going like, she's no competition. She can't even do math problems. She left me in a cave. I also think that in his brain, he's thinking, Amber's a champ and I'm not. I have 2 4th place finishes, and I played a great game last season, getting myself all the way to the finals, yet she is the one that got crowned a champion. She is the first Big Brother champion on the challenge, and she did it before me. Something inside Fessy, in his mind, in his body, and his soul, that he just feels uncomfortable with Amber in the house now. And it's nothing like she's doing anything. She's not talking bad about him. She's not going around trying to propose for people to send him into the elimination. No, she's just in the house, and her very presence is bothering him because she is deemed a champ in the challenge, that he lost to her and CT, whom he was like both feuding with just last season. This is all my theory, but I think that's the real reason why Fessy is looking to target Amber at every single point. To me, the most logical strategy would be wanting to run a final with Amber. If Fessy is in last season's finals telling Casey to hurry up, keep pace with me, yet on the flip side, we have Amber telling CT to keep pace with her, why wouldn't you want that? If you can do all the math, if you can do all the puzzles, why don't you want Amber by your side to help beast this thing out? Fessy's like, nope, she's got to go. She's got to go. I can't work with her. I can't do it. Just her very presence in the house is making him squirm, and I kind of love it. And I know I just went through that whole topic criticizing the motivation behind Fessy's moves, wanting to take a shot at a vet this early in the game, but I have to say thank you to Fessy as well. I do not want to see this vet alliance just get rid of every single rookie and just chill out. And there is a possibility that Gabo and Emmy, they'll just fall back on them as the house vote because they are a rookie team, but also because of everything that happened in this episode, there is some splinters. So maybe if we don't see them right away, they are going to be showing up sooner rather than later. So I have to say thank you to Fessy. I don't like the move. I thought it was not very strong strategically, or it wasn't very smart of a move. But I have to say thank you for stirring up the drama. I think next episode is going to be one that's going to make the house explode, especially coming back from the elimination. And I personally can't wait to see what's going to happen. I have to say that this past week's episode was fully informed. This was a full-fledged episode. It had some good drama, it had a good mission, a good elimination battle, a lot of more drama on top of that. There was a lot of moments in this episode where I legit laughed out loud, and I wanted to highlight 5 moments in this episode that I thought were the funniest and that made me laugh more than I have in recent history of the challenge and the episode. So I'm gonna go in order of when these scenes were shown in the episode, and the first one we're gonna be taking a look into Michelle's motivation for Corey L to do well in this week's mission.
Push yourself, pull forward. Hands and legs like your neck's on the line, cause it is, bitch.
Then we move into Heat 2, where we have Kyle and Amanda doing this, and she cannot understand anything that Kyle is saying over the walkie-talkie.
What's up to Dash Dot?
Kyle!
I have no idea what Kyle's saying over the walkie. I don't know if it's just because he's just mumbling with those big old teeth in his mouth.
After Kyle had already sabotaged Devin and Emmy, Esther was running back with possibly the last codes that she needed to open up the final lock, and Emmy was rooting for Esther to beat Kyle, but Devin had to correct her.
Esther beat this dickhead ass!
Well, no, don't root for her. We still want him to win.
The last 2 moments happened in the elimination portion of this episode. Fessy and Josh were going at each other. They were yelling with each other. And that's when we see TJ do something I've never seen him do on the challenge before.
It makes sense to me.
You want me to do it? Is this what you want to do?
I've been looking
You
out
try
for
to look
you.
out for everybody. You can't look out for everybody.
I mean, by looking at the ratings, that's what everybody is doing instead of watching the challenge. And after the elimination was over, that's when we had a little skirmish between Huey and Coriel, but it was broken up by security, and this is when Coriel decides to hit everybody with a little hip shimmy. Now let's read some comments from my Thursday's review and recap, and the first comment comes from Chris, who says, I did not understand the rules to the daily at all. I would be like Kyle, I don't know who is in the lead. I agree that this was very complex of a daily, where when TJ was explaining the rules, I was like, what's going on? But then as they were playing it, I was like, okay, this seems a lot simpler than what they were making it when they were explaining the rules. And I think that was the point. They didn't want to make a mission to where you could tell who was in the lead while you were playing it. You just wanted to go off of gut of who you wanted to sabotage. Next comment comes from Marcus, who says, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I agree with Josh on this one. I don't know why Fessy is so obsessed/pressed about Amber. Amber wants to be a part of the Big Brother Alliance and was looking out for him. I just think he and Casey are mad that she got a dub on her rookie season and smoked both of them in the final. Yes, that's exactly how I feel. Also, Esther is killing it and is making Nigeria proud. Esther is absolutely killing it. I mean, being partnered up with Fessy has its trials and tribulations, but she is making the most of it, getting empowered twice this season already. And I mean, she was the MVP of this mission. Next up, we have a comment from T, who says, I've never disliked someone as much as I do Fessy. He swears he's the best, and I don't know how Casey forgave this man so quickly. Sis, y'all could have won if he wasn't an ass rushing you. Josh is a hothead, but he's loyal and understands the endgame. Fessy is the best for this show because we need someone to hate. CT is not everyone's uncle, lol. We need a villain on these seasons, and he did a great job of being the villain on last season, and then coming in, I think he was trying to like lull everybody into, I've changed, I got a PR, I'm doing well, and then boom, episode 4 comes, and he's sending in Amber. I Am Realm says, bruh, Fessy is such a clown. He acts like he can't go and talk to Amber and try and squash beef. And he keeps saying is that she's against him and doesn't speak to him. He's such a fool and still is salty that she won last season. On a side note, I'm shocked that production has been good with editing this season so far. The structure of the episodes are on point thus far. They just need to show us way less editing during the eliminations. Hopefully they keep it up. I agree with both parts of this comment, not only because of the Fessy portion, but because of the editing of this season. I think they're doing a really good job. This episode, I have to say that when I was watching it live on TV, there was like a commercial break every 10 minutes, and that annoyed the crap out of me. But on the other hand, we are getting a good amount of the missions, we're getting a good amount of the house drama, and we're getting very small of the eliminations. I think this season in particular, they wanted to shorten the elimination rounds, and so they're editing them so much to where we're getting like maybe 12 minutes of an elimination. And granted, these eliminations aren't that complex, they're not all that crazy to where we can get a 12-minute, 10-minute elimination. It just seems so out of balance with how long we have of the episodes every week, with basically 90 minutes and only 10 is allotted for an elimination. Nick comes in with a comment saying, shake my head, I actually like Fessy more than most. I think he gets unfairly ragged on for the Nelson thing, especially when Nelson has snaked Corey, and of course, other instances of friends doing what they need to do to win. But anyway, of course, Fessy blows up the Vet Alliance of all people, shake my head. In the words of ESPN, come on, man. Yeah, there was a lot of theories on who was going to break the Vet Alliance first, and I guess there was a lot of feeling in the beginning of this episode that Kyle was the one to sabotage Devin and take the first shot, but ultimately, it was Fessy. And when thinking about it, you're like, yeah, that's pretty much par for the course for Fessy. Jules comments, Fessy is horrible at the challenge. Amber wasn't even remotely targeting him. He's so obviously just pissed/jealous that she smoked him in the final last season. I think that this is a testament to Fessy's game as a whole that we've gotten to see him play for the last couple of seasons. He is so fixed on the short game. He's only thinking one step ahead instead of thinking multiple. He's not thinking of the bigger picture. And this move reminds me of him wanting to get thrown in against Nelson in the Hall Brawl. Somebody who wasn't going to probably say his name on the season, and then him taking Casey so early on in the season. It's like he's thinking so short term in these challenge seasons than thinking of the long term. It's going to be something that he's going to have to work on throughout his challenge career, because I don't know if he can take that next step. I mean, he's going to probably make more finals in his challenge run, but to win, you're going to have to see and plan for the bigger picture and the end game. MyBay or MeBay comments, watching the challenge makes me never want to watch Big Brother. I will say that this current season right now has been better than a lot of the other seasons, but yeah. Next up, we have a comment from Michael who says, the Veteran Alliance is officially done with Kyle blindsiding Devin on the daily challenge, undercover comms, and the rest of the veterans not having the full trust in Kyle, but Fessy being messy and saying Amber's name is gonna shake up the entire house overall. And more bad news for Fessy, it just let you know Fessy can't be trusted overall. The rookie numbers are dwindling every single episode. This is where everyone's going to be hyper-focused on everybody's moves, and I think that Kyle always had this, like, snaky vibe to him, that he has this reputation, and I think that it doesn't help that he does sabotage his best friend, but I think everybody's going to latch onto it no matter what, no matter if they're friends with Devin or not friends with Devin, if they're close with Kyle or not close with Kyle. I mean, we saw it last season. I think overall this situation is setting him up to be sent into the elimination at some point, and somebody's going to reference this Devin betrayal. Next comment comes from David, who says, I think it's funny how Devin always wears the Speedo but didn't when he was actually going to the pool this episode. That Speedo. There was a point where when I was rewatching it, all I could see was the Speedo, and I was like, why am I looking there? Also, you gotta wonder if and how much production paid Fessy to make that move. It's not a good move and does nothing for repairing his reputation as a backstabber. Nelly T is watching. This did shake the house up, but I don't know. It feels like Fessy is setting himself up for future rival seasons or something. You can't help but think like, okay, so we've seen the TJ rag on the veterans throwing in rookies after rookies after rookies, and now we're coming into the 4th episode, and is there somebody in the background saying, like, we need to spice this up? Can somebody take a shot at the veterans? But overall, I do think that this was a move that Fessy wanted to do, and not somebody having to push him. But if anything, I think Josh pushed him the most, and also Casey seems to be okay with this as well. So I do think that there is something with Fessy and Casey that kind of like built up this moment and wanted to send Amber in. Next up, we have a comment from Diem or Nime, who says, I used to be a fan of Casey till this episode. The fact that she doesn't care that Fessy went after a vet so early, plus got mad at Josh, is unacceptable. In the previews for next week, I believe she is telling Josh that they are through and over. What do you think? That's a very interesting point. Everybody comes back from the elimination. They're going to get into it right away. And so we're going to get that confrontation that we saw in the super trailer between Josh and Fessy in the middle of this argument. And then she's going to be like, look, we're done. So I think that's a really great point. I think emotions are going to be running high and things are going to be said, but I don't think that in the long run that this Big Brother Alliance is officially over. I'll believe it when I see it, but right now it's so early, I don't think that they're going to just throw away all their connections with each other because of Fessy. Next up, we have a comment from Rel who says, Gabo's face at the end is like, this was not supposed to happen. Oh, poor Gabo. I mean, him at the mission where Nani was like, we're probably going to be targeted early, and Gabo's like, what? Why? To thinking he's never going to see an elimination, to you're definitely seeing an elimination probably next episode. And the final comment comes from Ina, who says, Michaela, Kels, Tatcha, Coriel, and Michelle, please get a group chat started and return next season with full vengeance, please. All of these people had the vets sweating. I couldn't have said it better myself. I hope to see everyone that was mentioned in that comment back for next season. And I think it would be spicy, especially if it was a rival season for next season. Oh, now that would be awesome. But that is it for this tiny table talk for this week. What'd you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think is the real reason why Fessy is targeting Amber so much? And what do you think are going to be the repercussions? Let me know that in the comment section below. What did you think about the moments I picked out that I think are the funniest from this week's episode? Which one did you think was the funniest? Is there one that I didn't mention that you thought was funnier? Let me know that in the comment section below. And thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really, really soon with more Challenge 37 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.